Hello, and welcome back to Sharing a Chapter a Day. This is Do, Ra, Mi, and today I will be reading Chapter 19 of Engagement in Peril by Dara, Odoe, Sok. Chapter 19 is titled Middle School Urges. When summer came to an end and the autumn breeze slowly ushered in the cool, soft winds, my friends and I started middle school. The majority of the project teams went to Kunzmiller Middle School, where we had to take the bus to school because it was pretty far away from where we live in the project. My buddies and I would walk 2 blocks south to our project housing to catch the long yellow school bus in front of Kepner Middle School. Dim and the majority of everyone I knew went to the same middle school, and we all took the same bus to Kunzmiller. It was weird. Although Kepner Middle School was just across the street from our housing project, all of the Asian students that live in the project were sent elsewhere. About 95% of Kepner's students' population were made of Hispanic and African American then. Anyone and everyone with a pair of balls wanted to sit next to Dim on the bus, and luckily several times I got to sit next to her. She and I would just talk about school, homework, our teacher, and gossip about other people we knew, people we wanted to know, while on our ride to school. The rest of the kids, while on the bus, would chit-chat, play cards, and play hamstring puzzles on the bus, or just simply sleep. Now, Kunzmiller was an enormous school. It was 4 stories tall, with various classrooms. All the shop classes were in the basement. Home economic and art classes were on the 3rd floor. Science and history classes were on the 4th floor, and math and English, and physical education on the 1st. The majority of the students who are minorities were placed in the ESL program, English as a second language. The ESL program helped to better our English speaking and reading and writing, and raise our academic scores and grades. We were quite the nerds then. My friends and I were academically inclined and in sync. We were more focused on our academic than that of the school's general population. We were the original nerd herd then. It was here at Kunzmiller that I first learned about CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. The person that instructed class told us about the history of the dummy, Annie. He told us about the legend of Annie, a daughter of a German doctor. She was a blonde 16-year-old girl who had drowned in an icy lake behind her backyard, and that the paramedic who came to save her didn't know what to do, or didn't know what CPR was to save her life, because they weren't taught to do so. So the doctor decided to create a doll that resembled his daughter to teach people CPR to help save lives. So we were told. Years later, I found out that the legend was at fault, and that the actual story was that there was a real German doctor who had a daughter whom died at age 11 because she had severe asthma, and since she was an infant, and that he did create a doll to help teach ordinary people on how to save lives. I guess the false legend helped catch our attention and gets us more focused on how and to realize the severity of drowning and the need to learn and how to use CPR when emergency should arise. One of my favorite subjects there at Kunzmiller was metal shop, where I got to build a miniature metal basketball hoop and a backboard. In auto shop, where I assemble, dismantle, and reassemble a lawnmower engine. In wood shop, I built a spice rack as a gift from my mother. In home economic, we made several breakfasts and lunch to visiting classroom, where I learned to fry, boil, and poach eggs. I also learned how to make toast, create various dessert and ice cream sundaes to sell for visiting classrooms and teachers. We learned the trades of customer service then, during my 6th grade year of school. In art class, we learned about the color scheme from primary, secondary, to tertiary color. I also had history, English, math, social study, and science classes. During 6th grade in the spring of 1989, I was one of the 9 students at the entire Kunzmiller Middle School in the ESL program who received the Presidential Certificate of Excellence from President George Bush Sr. for academic excellence and perfect attendance because I had proven that I was one of the top students in our class and subjects in the entire school. You see how smart Dara was then? Why is he now the bastard that he is? I don't seem to understand what has happened to him during these past months. It's unfortunate what turns out of events has happened to you, Dara. And with the loss of your beloved Shinshin, you must have lost yourself as well. You just need to wake the fuck up and be who you are once again. Good luck. One of the best things about middle school, Kunzmiller, is that it was attached to a pretty good sized park, which had a nice sized pond where the public can fish and play about. During physical education class, my buddies and I would sneak off to go fishing instead of attending to class activity and tasks. It was then during our PE session that I met Kantasuk, a fraternal twin with Kanton. She had long silky brunette hair, brown eyes, a nice scar on her temple, and a very cute smile. I was attracted to her for several long months. Now Kantasuk is of the Laotian persuasion. She did not live in the project. Unlike most of the minority students in the ESL program, Canton and his sister Kantasuk were Hmong and Laotian, and didn't live in the projects like the rest of us did. They lived several blocks away from the school, and it was easy for them to walk to school. Canton always looked out for his twin sister, and he would tell the other boys not to look at his sister as though she was some kind of meat. Kantasuk and I would spend our PE and recess teasing each other about this and that. I think we had a connection then. She was so darn cute. But I had never made any attempt to get closer to her. I was too shy or too dumb to do so. And I'm still quite naive about hitting on girls now, whatnot, because I don't just do it. Damn, Dara, what a dumbass. You should have told Kantasut about how you felt then. Maybe she might have had the same feeling about you. You sure missed out your moment. You missed out on a good opportunity, you bastard. During my hormonal puberty stage and one day at school, I ran into a Vietnamese girl that I had never seen before. Her name was Mary. She was like an angel to me then. I was at awe in her presence, and it seemed that soft, soothing music was playing when I first ran into her. She wasn't in any specialized class like I was. She was in the general ed class. At first, she looked down and stared at me as though she was better than me, until she got to know me later on. I had a locker about 8 lockers down from hers in the same row, and my friend had one next to her. I begged and pleaded to trade it with him so that I can be closer to her, but he refused. What a punk he was then. Surprisingly, Mary caught me looking at her and staring at her several times before class. She would give me a smirk and walked away. But at least she noticed me, and I think she got her kicks from doing that to me. As the school season progressed, she started to notice me. We actually became friends, and we talk and chit-chat about this and that. I never got the chance to tell Mary that I had a crush on her then. I was hoping that she'd get all the hints that I was showing her when we were interacting then. And I was hoping to tell the next school year when we returned from summer break. But unfortunately, I once again had to move away shortly after school ended that summer of 1989. Toward the end of school, Uncle decided to take his family on a road trip to California to visit Disneyland for their summer vacation. I was invited to go with them, but I couldn't, because unlike a Royal Public School, my school session at Denver Public School had not yet come to an end, and I sure didn't want to miss school on account of going on vacation early. They spent several weeks in California. When they came back, we saw pictures and film of their trip. They bought me and my brother some t-shirts from Disneyland and Chinatown, which had logos of California on it. Many attractive city, I guess. Wish I could have gone then, but I'd rather finish school year without any absences. I once again had perfect school attendance. It's terrible It's terribly sad that my family and I had to move away when the summer came to an end. I remember saying bye to Mary on our last day of school together, and regrettably not telling her how I felt then. If I could turn back the hands of time, I would tell Mary how I felt and maybe, just maybe, hugged her and held her for a while. On our last day and moment together at school, Mary gave me a warm smile, and we said our goodbye as we shook hands. We stared into each other's eye for a while and parted ways. Her hand was warm and soft to the touch, and I had no idea we were going to move away from the project that summer. Mom didn't bother telling us what was going on. I never knew I would miss my friends so much then. In a way, I regret moving away at all the same. But I guess someone has a plan for us, especially for me. And I don't question that somebody or mother's choice. Family comes first, and I went along for the ride. If I could meet Mary now, I would pour and spill out my heart to her about how and what I felt then. You think she even remembers me? I hope so. It's what I like to think, if I were given the chance. You never know. Mary could have been the one for me. She could have saved me from my life of sin and mishaps. Thank you for listening. This is the end of Chapter 19. Be on the lookout for Chapter 20, titled, Moving to California. Until next time, this is Do, Ra, Mi, and I'll see you later. Thank you.